Well, hello, everyone. This is Wilson Cole, president of Adams, Evans, and Ross, Backdoor Hires, and ELOC Global. I am joined by Samantha, our general counsel, my daughter, and our company attorneys. How are you doing, Sam?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing fine, doing fine. I'm going to kind of be a little bit of a Debbie Downer on this particular Monday morning meeting because I think it's something that needs to be addressed. Not because I think we're going into it's not because I think we're going into a recession. There's some things going on at this particular date. You got, coronavirus, you got the stock market doing all kind of crazy things. And so is this a start of a slowdown, or is this just a little hiccup? Don't know. Hopefully it's just a little bit of a hiccup and things move forward. But I want to use the R word, the recession word, not because I'm seeing any signs at this particular point that leads me to believe this is going to be a recession, but I think it needs to be discussed because if it's a recession now or if it's a recession in 2 years, 3 years, at some point the economy is going to slow down and all of this inhaling that we've been doing, you got to exhale and the economy is going to contract. And I'm concerned about it because there's a new crop of entrepreneurs that haven't ever been in a recession. I've been in three. The last one in 2009 and 10 was the weirdest thing I've ever been through. And it was well beyond anything that I saw beforehand. But and I saw a lot of our clients weather the storms and things along those lines. But it's been a concern of mine for the last 6 months, and it's just not that I'm discussing this because of the little bit of news that's now. I decided back 6 months ago I was going to go out and interview the best minds out there, the best trainers, the best company owners, and kind of, talk to them about a multitude of things. But one of the things that I asked them in all of those interviews is, what do clients need to be doing now to prepare for a recession? Because when you get into a recession, I think Danny Cahill summed it up best when he says, it's not like you see this long window of a recession coming. One morning you just show up at work and it's sitting at your desk. And I'm kind of paraphrasing Danny, but that's pretty much what happens. Is just one day you wake up and you notice a slowdown. The telltale signs, and this is what I want to spend this particular episode on, is the telltale signs that I see whenever we go into a recession, and then some of the checklists. Number one, and with this being said, we have not seen these telltale signs yet. We kind of see some anomalies on occasion, but I haven't seen just these huge indicators yet. But one is we see a huge surge in backdoor hires. I mean, just off the Richter scale. If we're getting in 5 backdoor hires a week, we walk in and we're seeing 20 in a week. I mean, it's literally a 300 to 400% increase. Also, we start seeing very large companies and even maybe some household brands come into collections. And we also see our clients tell us that great clients that were 30 to 60 days out are now 90. And so we start seeing a higher caliber of debtor come through at a disproportionate rate. Those are the two telltale signs for new business coming in. The third telltale sign is we have debtors that maybe owe our client, let's say it's $100,000, and they've been making $20,000 payments, and then they get to that last payment, or get down to that last $20,000, $30,000, and all of a sudden they want to go from $20,000 a month to $4,000 a month. They start trying to conserve cash. We start seeing that from debtors in basically any scale there, but we start seeing payments from debtors slow down. With all of that being said, we have not seen that now, but those are the telltale signs that in 30 years of doing this that we see. So what I would suggest, and you can send me an email, Wilson@aercollections.com, and just put in the subject, put in recession, and I will make sure that you get the interviews that I did with all of the trainers, to where we talk about many things, but one of the things that you need to be doing now to minimize or to make a recession for your business as non-existent as you can. So I've described my telltale signs, which is an increase in backdoor hires, your better clients running behind, and then your less than wonderful clients are now starting to stretch you out and make smaller payments. That's what we see. That's what our clients see. What you need to do right now is to prepare for whether this recession's this time or whether it's in 12 months, is you need to have a way, whether you utilize our system, you do it internally, it doesn't matter, but you need a way to track your candidates, to be in a position to find those backdoor hires. Because one of the things, you not only see the huge surge in backdoor hires, but you see people get hired, but you also see them get laid off before you locate them. And so you want to be able to find them while they're working there, whether you're utilizing our backdoor hire software, whether you're doing your internal method, because finding one or two backdoor hires during a recession could mean $25,000 to $50,000 to you, which could help absorb any shrinkage that you see, or at least, get you some cash injection to ride out the storm. You also need to maintain and set credit lines. All of our clients, I say all of our clients, most of our staffing clients will extend out credit based on our clients' needs. Versus their credit worthiness. A client could be a wonderful $5,000 credit risk, but a horrible $50,000 credit risk. You need to set credit lines up, because here's the deal. If a company gets into trouble, one of the things that they do to free up cash is that they start trying to push the payroll aspects over to somebody else to create, in essence, a loan. If they can put $100,000 of their payroll over on your staffing, that's great. That's a new client for you. But understand, you're now exposed. And they may be a wonderful $100,000 credit risk. They may be a miserable $10,000 credit risk. That's why you need to check credit. Those are the two things there. Also have a system to follow up with past due clients that is methodical, whether it's sending out a 3-letter series, following up with emails. You need to have a system that's automatic, that is not people dependent. Samantha, you haven't had the pleasure of riding through a recession, which is always an interesting thing, and there'll be a lot of learning on all sides there. But from a legal standpoint, what do you want to see clients do to make sure that they're covered from a legal standpoint? Do you have a checklist?
I mean, I think it's the same that we have even during regular times, but it's all the more important because it can be make or break during recession. Is have your documentation in order, have that signed contract, and even look into a personal guarantee, because it then gives you a little bit of extra protection. Know who you're dealing with, because you're going to run into is recessions hit, you have corporations shut down and reopen. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to have to know who you're dealing with along those lines. And I think those are kind of my main takeaways.
And that is one thing we see companies that, have been in business and they start doing this corporate jump to where they take this debt-laden company and they try to jump over into a new company. And a lot of clients will call us during those times. They say, well, we know where the owner is. Keep in mind, there's several reasons, but the primary reason that corporations exist is to shield individuals from personal liability. If you have a debt-ridden company, they can shut that down, open up a new corporation, and not owe you a dime without a personal guarantee. Now, they cannot have all the assets miraculously show up in this new corporation. And if that were to happen, we could claim that it was a continuance of business. But it becomes another part of that dance. And if they have an attorney oversee that shifting, that attorney will do it in such a way to where that new company does not owe it. So the checklist to get ready for a recession is to make sure that you know where your candidates are and being able to track them, have a system in there. Number two, have a system to where when somebody starts hitting that 30-day mark, 45-day mark, certainly no later than that, to where letters start going out, phone calls start getting made, have a system in place. Number three, check credit and set credit lines. You need to be doing this outside of a recession, but you need to make it even more important inside a recession, because cash flow will hide a lot of stupidity and give you a lot of burn rate. Unfortunately, when those numbers kind of contract, if you make mistakes, they wind up costing you. Also, on the legal checklist, and Sam's absolutely right, number one, make sure you have your paperwork. Make sure you know the company that the name of the company that you're actually dealing with. Because if it's, I cannot tell you how many times we run into a situation where a company, we go to sue them and find out that they're not ABC company, they're ABCD holding company, and it sounds like semantics, but you have to have the exact name correct. Best way to check that is take a look at the company name that they give you, check it against the Secretary of State. If those two don't match, find out what that is, because in a recession, companies go out of business. If you didn't know who you were dealing with and that company goes out of business and opens up a newer company, or if they just go out of business in general, being able to know who and what it is that you're dealing with becomes key. Also, during a recession, speed is key. When a company, it's leverage. When things are going well, things are going well. During a recession, cash tightens up, business slows up, so you get the leverage moving in the other way. And if you have a client that you feel unsure of, then whether you utilize us, whether you utilize your local attorney, you need to escalate on them quickly. And that's the key. That's the key, because if a company is in a position to handle or at the front of the recession or in the front of the slowdown, they're much more likely to be able to pay you off or work out arrangements, versus as if you wait that 12 to 18 months and they paid all the other squeakier wheels and they go away. So know who your candidates are, have a system in place for following up, and then also make sure that you set credit lines, know who you're dealing with, and do a checklist to make sure that you have signed contracts. Samantha, anything else that you want to add to this before we jump off?
I think that covers it.
Perfect. Guys, one thing, and like I said, I wanted to make sure that all of our clients had all the resources they could. So 6 months ago, I started interviewing the best minds in the industry to where I could share with you. Send me an email, just put recession in the subject file or the subject field, and I will make sure you get a link back to the page where we have all of these interviews with some of the greatest minds in the industry. And we'll get you set up there. Hopefully you don't need us, but if you do need us on collections, give us a call and start tracking those candidates and temporaries. Thank you, Sam.
Anytime.